G'day, my name's Jonathan. I'm part of the Reinforcement Guy team, and my job is to go around to people's houses and give them positive reinforcement. So I'll go to someone's house, say 6 o'clock in the morning. Generally, I'll have a key, and I'll let myself in, grab a chair and sit down beside their bed, and just say the client's name is Daryl. I say, Daryl, you're a top bloke, mate. And sometimes Daryl has depression or anxiety or low self-esteem. He could, I've lost a leg. He could have diabetes. There's all sorts of cases involved. He might have had a bad run on the pokies and lost his house, or his mother doesn't like him and his dad thinks he's a jerk. All this sort of stuff. And my role as a positive reinforcement guy is to get him into a state of mind where he feels confident enough to get out of bed and really take on the world and not let those problems, which can really bring you down and really take it out of you, really overcome them and live a good life. So I'll say, come on, Daryl, mate, get out of bed. You can do it. Go and have a healthy breakfast. And then you'll hop out and I'll rub him on the back and go, mate, you're looking good today. You're a bit tired. You might want to have a shower because you're a bit woofy. Because it's not all about positive things. It's about wrapping up the issues in positive layers, and you try not to bullshit. You try and take what's working for them and what they're good at and layer that in. So you don't want it to be all like lies. You don't want to tell them, look, mate, you're a really handsome guy. I'm actually quite attracted to you, and I don't play that way, so you don't have to worry about me. But I tell you what, you're a really handsome guy. If they're not handsome, you focus on what they're actually really, really good at. So they might do crossword puzzles, or they might have a dog that likes them or something, and you focus on those things. And if they just say they eat their breakfast every day, so they get ticking that box, you say, man, this is something you do every day. You eat breakfast. Some people don't do that. You're in the right direction. All you got to do is eat lunch and dinner now, and you'll be right. You're sort of a third of the way there. So it's really about just building their confidence around things that are realistic, and looking for their strengths. It's really a strength-based philosophy at the Reinforcement Guy team. And sometimes it's hard to find strengths in people. And that's honest. That's being honest. Sometimes you think, this guy is a complete fucking loser. And I don't like to use language like that, but really, that's what I think in my head. But I've got to, and this is the hard part of the job, I've got to figure out ways of saying to them, listen, get your shit together, grow up, life can be better if you put in the bloody effort and stop sulking, learn about your problems, learn what they are, and focus on them, and focus on overcoming them. Learn what you're bloody good at. Learn what you can do. Learn what you can bloody stick your teeth into in life and stick at it. Bloody have a go. But you really got to do it in a positive, gentle way, in a way where you don't want to hinder them. You don't want to set them back to square one. And it can be difficult because I've got a temper. I haven't always, back in the day, I actually lost a few people. And I'm not proud of that. I mean, they're heading that way anyway, but I just put the nail in the coffin, so to speak. But you've got to be really careful. As a positive reinforcement guy, it's got to be all about what they're capable of. You don't want to lead them up a tunnel that they can't walk through. You know what I mean? You got to look at their skills. Look at what you go back to their past and say, what made you happy? What really worked for you? What brought you happiness? Like what did you mightn't have excelled at, but what were you okay at that you can improve upon? You know what I mean? And that's where the self-esteem is built from. And then you just look at ways of teaching them beneficial habits, and look at all their flaws as a whole and look for the underlying problem. So they might be a real bloody jerk. They might be an arsehole, and they just whinge all the time and pick on people and got nothing nice to say. And you look at the underlying problem and you tell them, look, you're doing this because you feel this way, and then you're projecting it onto these people. And you say, mate, you've got all this going on, all this good stuff. Focus on that. And if you want to get on with people, treat them good. Just give it a go. Like, don't be a dick. But some of it's really, really ingrained strong into their character that that's how they're supposed to be. And a lot of people believe in their own bullshit. Like it's ingrained, and they'll protect themselves. Like that's their identity. Like they'll fuse it to their identity. So, and that's when it's really hard to create positive steps for growth. You can sort of get there where they feel happy about themselves, but then something goes wrong and they're back to square one, lying in bed, won't get out of bed, and you're there rubbing their back going, come on, mate, have a go. So it's a difficult job, but it pays well. It pays really well. And sometimes you have some success. Not very often. Most people don't get their shit together because they don't bother putting in the effort to learn about themselves, or they won't read. Like they'd rather play video games than read about themselves, because it's really about understanding yourself. And when you learn that, when you learn how to understand yourself and who you are, and you don't do that by thinking who you are, because your brain's got all these little traps that tell you, oh, I'm like this and I'm like that, and you'll bullshit yourself, you'll lie to yourself, and you won't be honest. And you really want to be clear about your issues, but you're also, they've also got to have you've got to embed into their attitude that change is possible, because if you go and throw them into who they really are, because they've probably got some delusions about the type of person they are, and they're not seeing themselves clearly, they're seeing themselves through filters, and they're propping up themselves in ways that aren't based on reality. So if you take away those delusions, they can hit the deck really hard, and that if you haven't embedded them into a place where they can grow, and that it's okay, that failure's okay, that you can be in one place and go to another, then they're in real trouble, and they might fall off the perch, and they might take someone out with them. They might go on some sort of spree and just make a mess of it, because they're so down and they've got so much blame and anger, because they can't sort of put it on them. They can't say, what can I do? What's my fault? They have to project onto others. Oh, mum did this, mum did that. This chick's a bitch because she said I was stupid or something. And it's hard, those things, but they're not the issue, because the issue is, what can you do for yourself? You can't expect the outside world to change. I'm there to trigger them through positive reinforcement to take on the task of growing as a person, so they can be in society in a way that is acceptable and people like them. And then suddenly, wait a sec, I got good feedback off people. I got a good response. And then they're feeling better about themselves. And they might drop down, but maybe this time they got a bit of resilience and they bounce back harder, and they're just stronger inside and they believe in themselves. But that's because they don't pin who they are to their personality and say, well, my personality is good because I'm good and you're wrong, or whatever. They learn, all right, I've got difficulties and I've got to grow from that. And they actually change and they actually grow. And like, I can't say I've had too many people happen to that, but there's other people that, other encouragement guys that are really good and they actually make a difference. Like, I just need the paycheck, really. I've had enough of it, but because people have like a sort of they have their own belief systems and their own like schema, things that they believe, and some of those are faulty, some of those aren't right, but they identify with them. So if those ideas are wrong, then they're wrong because that's their personality and that's what they believe. So they'll hold very tight onto them and they won't actually learn. What they'll do is take information that fits into that schema. And that schema might be built on sand, So they're always falling off and it's not working in the real world because that schema is not based on reality and how reality works. So you want to trigger them in the reality and really look at themselves in a clear way and have them see themselves for who they are, but know that it's okay for them to for them to have known that because they've actually recognised it and they can grow. But most people are bloody jerks and they don't get past that stage. They think they know better. They're not going to listen. And I'm sick of it. And I feel like punching them sometimes because I'm there to help. But, oh, geez, hey, you tell them one thing and they bloody, you try and dig it into their bloody head, but they know better and they're just dickheads, they're gonna keep making the same mistakes because they don't want to change because they think they're right and they think they know their problems because they use their brain to work it out instead of reading and finding out answers that people have solved through actual studies and understanding this stuff. Like not internalizing it and trying to work it out like there's some sort of a font of knowledge that is an understanding of them and who they are, and the world's full of knowledge, and it's built up over thousands of years, and a lot of people don't tap into that. They don't learn. Like psychology's been around for how long? 50 years or something? I don't really know. There's some really good stuff where you listen to it and you identify with it and go, oh yeah, I do that. And then you understand yourself and then you grow from it. But a lot of people will go, well, no, because I believe that this and this and this because it suits my agenda of who I am and that works for me. And they have this terrible picture of the world and yeah, they don't realise that they're human, so they're really faulty. And we're all really faulty. So am I. That's why I'm shit at my job. I'm just fucking terrible at it. But a lot of people think that the answers that come out of their brain are correct because they thought them. And they're not. They're not. They're just assumptions based on your ego and what comforts you and what makes you seem superior and what your group identifies with. And they're not, a lot of people, because there's some hard things about reality and they don't want to admit that ugliness and they don't want to see that ugliness in themselves, that we've evolved over thousands of years and we've got some bad characteristics. And unless we know about them, we'll keep repeating them and we'll tell ourselves that it was justified and we'll still see ourselves as good people, but we make shitty decisions that hurt other people, isolate us and make us act like unlikable people. And that lowers our self-esteem. We end up in bed. We don't want to hop out of bed. It's really, and as a positive reinforcement guy, I'm just not there to say to them, like, everything's great, you're going to make $1 million. You're probably not. You're not that smart. So stop trying to make $1 million. Try and be a better person. Try and live a good life. Stop being bloody delusional and get your act together. And then people will lay off you and stop giving you a hard time. Stop looking at the stuff that, is not working, that's a little bit hard, take on some responsibility. Look at the stuff that's hard and stop telling your brain that you do this for this reason. Tell yourself the truth, that you do it because it's hard and you don't want to do it, or you're too ashamed, or you're too lazy, and then work out why you're lazy. Because most people are lazy for a reason. They're shy about something, or they don't think they can do it, or they're scared of failure. And it's all about failure. It's about throwing shit at the wall until you make a good picture. But until the picture's made, it's going to look like shit, okay? You got to keep throwing shit at the wall. And if it keeps looking like shit, it's because you're throwing it in the same bloody place. So I think, I think that the team at the Positive Reinforcement guys is a really, really good thing for society, and we're helping a lot of people. And, I'm probably not going to last in it because I'm a bit of an arsehole myself, and I really don't want to look at my problems. But, because I feel like I know, I'm gonna really press them and, give them a hard time. And that's really hurting people, but I don't know, I feel I'm halfway there. I don't know what I have to change in myself to actually help people, because I want to poke them with a stick and say, shape up, stop mucking about, do something positive, bloody stop wasting your life, help people, take on responsibility. Be proud of your environment. Grow up. Stop blaming everything on everybody else. Stop bitching and moaning. Yeah, I'm an angry man. Thank you.